Inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa sallallahu ala nabiyil ummi bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Especially with what we recited in the chapters of the Quran Kareem. Now, we are now listening to and reciting chapters that are known as the Hameems of the Quran Kareem. There are 7 such chapters of the Quran Kareem. From chapter number 40. So how many chapters are there in the Quran? You tell me. How many chapters? In the entire Quran? 114 chapters in the Quran Kareem. So we were reading tonight from 39, that's Zumar. Zumar in rhythm is similar to the Hameems, but it's before the Hameem. Zumar means groups and multitudes, people traveling in abundance. And Zumar also means noise. And look how beautiful is the Quran and how beautiful is the Arabic language. When people are so many, generally there is a rowdiness. There is somewhat rowdiness. Isn't it, Hafiz Musa? When going with the big groups there to Palestine, it's hard to get all the people quiet, you know. So Zumar means that. Zumra, Zumar. In this chapter that Maulana was reciting, there's an amazing, Allahu Akbar, every ayat of the Quran is so amazing. Allah says, tell them, O my Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Qul ya ibadi, O my beloved servants, O my servants, الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ, whom have transgressed upon their souls. لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ, never ever lose hope in the mercy of Allah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا, Allah forgives all sins. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ, Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ, this verse says, turn to Allah. Anibu ila rabbikum. Wa aslimu la, and submit to Him. Before the punishment comes all of a sudden. And then one would regret. An taqula nafsun, ya hasrata ala ma farrattu fi jambillah. The background of this verse is so amazing. But amazing is also the incident in the time of Hazrat Umar. So let's link it with the next chapter. Hazrat Umar was on the journey of Hijrah. Migration from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara. This is a Meccan chapter, a Makki surah, Surah Zumar, revealed in Makkah Mukarramah. In the sequence of revelation, it is 59. In the sequence of the Quran, it is 39. Now, Hazrat Umar was traveling with few companions. But one man, namely Ayyash, remember his name. Now Umar is famous, radiyallahu anhu, one of the greatest Sahaba. The second greatest of all the Sahaba Kiram, radiyallahu anhum, Umar. Just say the name Umar and the Malaika descend and the shayateen start dispersing. That's the awe Allah has placed in the name of Hazrat Umar. Now, Hazrat Umar is migrating, and with him was a man by the name of Ayyash bin Abi Rabi'ah. Ayyash had embraced Islam. And the third was Hisham. He was supposed to make it, he didn't make it. Right? Hisham bin As, radiyallahu anhu. He was already captured and he was locked up in the dungeon. As Hazrat Umar and Ayyash are traveling, they arrive near Quba. And who comes for them? Abu Jahl. Now Abu Jahl and Ayyash had the same mother. Their fathers were brothers. So the one father, Abu Jahl's father, passed away. So his brother, Abu Rabi'ah, married their mother. Right? What happened then was, so they were brothers from the same mother. So Abu Jahl is saying to Ayyash, you know what? Your mother is crying because of your departure. You have to come back. You have to leave all these other things you're talking about. Come back to Makkah, otherwise your mother will die. She's taken a vow, she won't eat, she won't sleep, she won't comb her hair. She'll suffer until she sees her son Ayyash. Oh, Ayyash became emotional. You know, you hear the name mother softens the heart. But Hazrat Umar is telling Ayyash, don't succumb to what Abu Jahl is saying. Don't trust him. Yes, your mother is important, but your iman is more important. Mother is important, but Allah comes before mother. If mother says do something contrary to Allah's will, we obey Allah, and in that case we don't listen to mother. We do for mother, we love mother. We obey mother, unless it's contrary to Allah's will. Allah comes first, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayyash's heart was soft. He says, you know what, Hazrat Umar, what I'll do? I got so much of wealth in Makkah. I'll even get my wealth. 2 birds, 1 stone. I'll come. Sort that out and I'll come and get that issue solved. Hazrat Umar says, you worried about money? He says, I carried my investments. Half is yours. Don't go back. So what's interesting is what Hazrat Umar was prepared to do to save one person's iman. Ayyash still then succumbed. He said, you know what, I still have to go. Hazrat Umar then said, okay, see my camel, very docile, very obedient. As soon as you perceive deception from them, escape on this camel. He took Hazrat Umar's camel and they returning. Abu Jahl and his other brother say to Ayyash, they're trying to have a conversation as they're returning. They don't want him to realize their actual evil intentions. After some time, they said to him, what a beautiful camel you ride. Let us also try it out. So as Abu Jahl gets on the camel behind Ayyash, he then ties Ayyash. He ties him up and tortures his brother and takes him into Makkah and throws him into the dungeon, and he announces, this is what you do to your relatives and your people when they even consider Islam. Now Ayyash felt very bad. He felt he had betrayed Islam because of what he did, because of the fact that Hazrat Umar told him not to return and he still returned. So Hazrat Umar wrote this ayah of the Quran to him, this whole entire page. Read the translation of this page, Allahu Akbar. One would fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah's amazing mercy and Allah's warning. But what's amazing, look at the care of Hazrat Umar. Hazrat Umar didn't say, oh, he went back, leave him. No. In Medina Munawwara, Hazrat Umar writes to him what Sahaba were prepared to do to save one person's iman. When Ayyash receives the letter, he was so touched. You know what he did? He said, Allah, give me tawfiq. Ya Allah, help me. And he finally realized, because at the initial stages of Islam, it was understood that if you somewhat betrayed, you are apostate and Allah will never accept you. But from this ayah it became clear that if one makes a mistake and one repents to Allah, Allah is so kind, Allah is prepared to forgive and accept. Before we leave this world without iman, أن تقول نفس يا حسرة على ما فرطت في جنب الله وإن كنت لمن الساخرين أو تقول لو أن الله هداني لكنت من المتقين أو تقول حين ترى العذاب لو أن لي كرة فأكون من المحسنين. Or a person will die and he says, Allah, give me one more chance to do good. Allah has given us the chance while we're living, not when we die. When we die, we can't bring iman at that time. That time everybody sees iman, so everybody brings iman. The place of bringing iman is this world. Like when you want to write the correct answer in the exam, you have to write it in the examination hall. You can't hand over your paper without answering the question paper, and then outside in the parking lot you say to your teacher, let me give you the answer now. Now it's futile. It's a baseless, futile exercise. You have to repeat the next year to write the exam again. But with Akhirah, there's no repeating next year also. There's no opportunity to come back. So this is that incident, how merciful Allah is. Something else interesting, Allah mentions when the people of Jahannam are brought to Jahannam, Allah says, Futihat abwabuha. There's no wow there. As Maulana read, there was no wow. Why? Because the doors of Jahannam, and in the next discussion there's a wow. What's the difference? When there's no wow, as the Jahannami is brought to hell, Allah save us. Futihat abwabuha. As he arrives there, then the doors are opened. So the heat of hellfire is contained in it. Allah save us. And as the Jannati is escorted with honor, VIP, and not only one, VVVV, multitude of times, the greatest of honor, he's escorted to Jannah with the greatest of respect and honor, with the greatest of love, with the greatest of adoration, the greatest of excitement, as he's being escorted into hell, into Jannah. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا. Wow is haliyah. The doors of Jannah are already slammed open, awaiting his arrival. And his pleasures and bliss in Jannah is awaiting him. All the pleasures of Jannah, subhanallah, is awaiting. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا وَقَالَ لَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ. Now what a life of peace you have. This is ultimate peace. Salamun alaykum. Tibtum. how wonderful you are. Enter Jannah, fadkhuluha, quickly enter Jannah, quickly, now enter Jannah. Khalideen, forever and ever. No more suffering, no more heartache, no more pressure, no more worries, no more troubles, no more hankering, no more so many responsibilities. فَادْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ وَقَالُوا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي Subhanallah. The next chapter is, imagine, named Almu'min. Chapter 40 and then chapter 41. See how beautifully the chapters of the Quran Kareem are synchronized. Both start with Hameem, but 40 starts with Hameem and 10 of Allah's qualities. Hameem, Tanzilul Kitabi min Allahil Azizil Alim, Ghafiril Dhanb, Waqabilit Tawb, Shadidil Iqab, Dhit Tawl, La ilaha illa hu, Ilayhil Masir. 10 qualities of Allah. In Hameem, number 2, chapter 41, Fussilat it's called. Hameem, Fussilat. Here, Hameem, but 10 qualities of the Quran Kareem. So there are 10 qualities of Allah. Here, 10 qualities of Allah's Kalam. Hameem, Tanzilum min ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Kitabun, Fussilat ayatuh, قرآنا عربيا لقوم يعلمون بشيرا ونذيرا فأعرض أكثرهم فهم لا يسمعون. 10 qualities of Allah's Kalam. In the first chapter 40, Allah discusses Al-Mu'min, the Mu'min, as we notified when we were reciting. In this chapter, Allah mentions 10 qualities of the Da'i. So here, Allah mentions the Da'i. The Mu'min is the Da'i. Allah mentions his da'wat in great detail. Almost 3 pages. Allah is telling us how he gave da'wat. What's very interesting is, the Quran Kareem speaks of many ibadat. But Quran Kareem mentions it clearly, explicitly. Salah explicitly. The fast explicitly. The Hajj explicitly. With a lot of detail also the Hajj. But when Quran Kareem brings da'wat, Quran not only mentions it explicitly, but in such detail that is so phenomenal and marvelous and shocking, as though the Quran Kareem doesn't leave the topic. 3 pages. Not only da'wat, what da'wat he gave. What was the reaction when he gave the da'wat? What was his counter reaction then? What he then said, and what he then said. Up to 3 pages. How much Allah loves da'wat. But let's discuss the first incident. We were talking about Hazrat Umar's letters. It was not only on one occasion Hazrat Umar wrote a letter. Under this incident, Maulana Yusuf Rahimahullah brings an amazing incident of a youngster repenting. And this is quoted in Tafseer Ibn Kathir. That in Hazrat Umar's time, there was one youngster who used to attend. Now imagine how many people attending Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu's teachings and his da'wat and his lectures and his guidance. How many people? Masjid al-Nabawi was full. But that one youngster that wasn't there, Hazrat Umar is also concerned about him. Look at you and I. We think, oh, there's so many people. So what if those few are not here? Sahaba also worried for the few that weren't here. Imagine, Hazrat Umar, if there was someone not there for Fajr, what Hazrat Umar did? After Fajr, he went to visit him. This was the care for every person. What a beautiful system, you know. One masjid, the brothers used to do this. If a brother wasn't there for Fajr, all the musallis used to go visit him after Fajr. What happened? And then they used to end up drinking tea by his house, you know. And by the time he'll make tea, serve them biscuits, and make a lot of ikram. Next time, before he thinks of missing Fajr, he'll think, hey, I'll get the whole community here for Fajr, for tea and for breakfast. Rather, I just be there for my Fajr. But look at the fikr.
We'll finish off at Zohar time.
Alhamdulillah.
That's a problem. The Almas got so many not coming for Fajr. We'll finish off Zohar time.
Allahu Akbar. Now inshallah, we must start our day with Fajr. Rasulullah said, he who starts his day with Fajr, غَدَى بِرَايَةِ الْإِيمَانِ. The whole day we have the flag of Iman with us. And he who doesn't start his day with Fajr, غَدَى is to go in the morning. He leaves in the morning to the bazaar. بِرَايَةِ الشَّيْطَانِ. With the devil's flag all day. Shaitan's flag is hanging on him. Shaitan's flag. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he who doesn't start his day with Fajr, Shaitan urinates in his ear. Bala fi udunihi. Peshab. You know peshab? Urine. Imagine what a despicable thing, and full of infestation of germs and the foul stench in urine. Despicable. And imagine the devil's urine inside his ears, just for not starting the day with Fajr. Then Shaitan actually sleeps on the nose. وَنَامَ عَلَى خَيْشُومِهِ. So Fajr is not only out of convenience because of Ramadan, oh we had to wake up for Sehri, so let's just make Fajr. No, it's all our life. We are not seasonal Muslims. We have to be Muslims all our life, so that we die upon faith and Iman. So Hazrat Umar, one day there was one man, he was in charge of the bazaar. His name was Sulaiman bin Abi Hathma rahimahullah. He was a great tabi'i. He wasn't there, so Hazrat Umar went to his house. He visited him. What happened? Everything okay? His mother, she came to the door. Hazrat Umar asked, where is Sulaiman? His mother said, Hazrat, whole night he was in tahajjud. When Fajr came in, he dozed off. Hazrat Umar says, tahajjud is important, but salah with jama'ah and congregation and fard is more important than whole nights. Tahajjud. So here now there was one youngster who wasn't attending. So Hazrat Umar found out, check up, where's that youngster? So they found out, they realized, تَتَابَعَ فِي هَذَا الشَّرَابِ. He started joining bad company, and from there, bad company start taking intoxicants, start taking substances. So he was taking something, some drink, something impermissible because of bad company. Allah save us. Always be in good company. Bad company is like a snake. Is worse than a snake. It will sting our Iman. A snake will sting the body. It's a hazard to health. This is a hazard to our Iman. Bad company. If people are saying evil things, talking evil things, and bad for our company, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam equated that to be such that it will harm the body and harm the clothes. Hadith of Sahih Bukhari. What is meant by harming the body and harming the clothes? Bad company harming one's body and harming one's clothes. One's clothes is one's a'mal. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِرْ. So bad company will make a person negligent in a'mal. He'll neglect salah, neglect deen due to bad company. And harming the body is one's beliefs will start becoming warped and incorrect. He'll start disrespecting Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. He'll start disrespecting the Imams of fiqh, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad. He'll say, who are these people? Allahu Akbar. Those are great scholars who met Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. How can we equate scholars of today's time or of 1 century ago to someone who saw Sahaba? There's no comparison, respected elders. There's no comparison. We say, no, we are men and they are men. Allahu Akbar. What statement is that? That's totally a ludicrous remark. When one understands the context, deen is understanding the context. If I ask you, can I have water? Because you sing, I'm sitting here and I'm lecturing, so you know I need a glass of water. But if you didn't see me, maybe I was in the restroom, relieving myself in the toilet. That time I'm not asking you for a glass of water. That time I need a jug because maybe your tap wasn't working. So I need someone who heard me, who understands the situation. I mean, bring me a jug so I can wash myself and make istinja. But I said the same remark, can I have water? If I was by my car with the bonnet open and I said, can I have some water? At that time I needed a bottle of water or a bucket because I need to fill in the radiator. Or a person woke up in the morning and there's no water in the bath. So I'm asking for water. That means I need a bucket of water to wash off my janaba. So understanding the context of saying I want water is very important. Not just can I have water. When Rasulullah ﷺ said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Imagine those people who saw the Sahaba praying. How different it is from somebody who's just seeing the hadith. Seeing the Sahaba and seeing the hadith, how more emphatic it is when we're listening to the hadith and seeing the practicality of it. So bad company can even destroy our aqeedah. Back to this. Hazrat Umar asked about this youngster. So they said he started joining bad company and he started taking some intoxicants. Hazrat Umar cared for him and worried for him. So he said to a few, let's make dua for him. And then he wrote a letter. And in the letter Hazrat Umar wrote these verses. Hameem, Tanzilul Kitab, Min Allahil Azizil Alim, Ghafiril Dhanb, Waqabilit Tawb, Shadidil Iqab, Dhit-Tawl, La ilaha illahu, Ilayhil Masir. This youngster receives the letter and he's saying, Ya Allah, Allah is so forgiving. Ghafiril Dhanb. Allah is the forgiver of sins. Allah accepts repentance. But also, Allah's punishment is severe if we don't change. Shadidil Iqab. Dhit-Tawl. Allah's generosity is so abundant. There's none but He. And if I don't change now, ilayhil masir, I still have to return to Him and answer for my actions. He's saying, Ya Allah, help me understand. Ya Allah, help me understand. Allahu Akbar. The youngster changed on the letter of Hazrat Umar and the du'as of Hazrat Umar and the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu anhum. Then Hazrat Umar said to the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu anhum, Hakada faf'alu. This is what you do. إِذَا رَأَيْتُمْ أَخًا لَكُمْ زَلَّ زَلَّةً. If you see a man slip and trip, don't leave him. We're not worried. No. Do the same. فَسَدِّدُوهُ. Straighten him. Correct him. Help him. Pull him out of the hole. وَوَثِّقُوهُ. وَلَا تَكُونُوا أَعْوَانًا لِلشَّيْطَانِ عَلَيْهِ. Don't aid the devil against him. So this is how Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu anhum cared for one individual. In this chapter, in these verses, subhanallah, 28 right up till 45, Allah mentions a man in the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. So Musa alayhi salam was giving da'wah to the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh, and this is the incident after which this chapter is named. So the Pharaoh threatened the life of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Dharuni aqtul Musa. Let me kill Musa alayhi salam. Let him pray to Allah. Let's see what he'll do. In the ministry, in the court of parliament, in front of Fir'aun, وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ. One mu'min said, Min ali Fir'aun. He was from the people of the Fir'aun. He was a Coptic. Yaktumu imana. At first he was a mu'min, but he was concealing his iman. Now he expressed his iman. He says, how can you kill a man? Just because he says, Rabbi Allah, my Rabb is Allah. And he brings for you proof. Oh my people, if what he says is true, you're going to benefit. If what he says is wrong, the harm is upon him. But what if what he's saying is true and what he promises happens to you? How will we face Allah? Imagine, these are his words. And he carries on. And then he says, oh my people, you have kingdom today. Lakumul mulkul yawm. You conquer the lands today. But who will help us when Allah's punishment comes? فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنَا مِنْ بَأْسِ اللَّهِ إِنْ جَاءَنَا. Fir'aun interjected and said, people, just follow me. I am showing you what is right. مَا أُرِيكُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَرَى وَمَا أَهْدِيكُمْ إِلَّا سَبِيلَ الرَّشَادِ. I am guiding you to righteousness. Fir'aun said that. وَقَالَ الَّذِي آمَنَ. The mu'min then spoke after Fir'aun. He seized his opportunity to speak. He didn't keep quiet. Oh no, they'll take my life. No, he invited to Allah. He invited to Allah. وَقَالَ الَّذِي آمَنَ. Ya qawm, oh my people, inni akhafu alaykum mithla yawm al-ahzab. Like what happened to the nations of the past. When they brought iman, they were saved. When they defied the message, they were destroyed. The same thing will happen to us. مثل دأب قوم نوح وعاد وثمود. He's reminding them. He's giving Guzari. Report back. What happened to Nuh alayhi salam's people? What happened to Ad? What happened to Thamud? What happened to the other nations? Allah was not unjust to them. يُرِيدُ ظُلْمًا لِلْعِبَادِ. Oh my people, I fear for you the day يَوْمَ التَّنَادِ. The one qira'ah has a tashdeed on the dal. It means everyone will be running helter-skelter. If you don't have Allah in your life, we'll suffer on that day. We'll be petrified on Judgment Day. And tanad also means from the word nida, where every one of us will be called name by name before Allah. That day you'll be running away in flight. مَا لَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ عَاصِمٍ. And there's no one to protect you from Allah. And he who Allah lets go astray, there's none to guide him. And then he tells them, Yusuf alayhi salam came to you. So what we learn? Who's saying this? A Sahabi of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he is giving dawah to Fir'aun and the entire ministry of the Fir'aun. And then he's saying, Hazrat Yusuf also came to tell you the truth. So let me ask you a simple question. Who came first? Hazrat Musa alayhi salam or Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam? Obviously Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, isn't it? Because Hazrat Musa alayhi salam is from the offspring of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam's 4 sons, but 2 of his sons were Anbiya. The first was Ismail. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was 86 years old when his son Ismail alayhi salam was born. And then he was 99 or 100 when Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam was born. From Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam came the greatest of Anbiya alayhi salam. And interestingly, the Bible actually speaks about the offspring of Ismail. You can show the Christians, you can show them. See, this verse in Genesis is the first chapter in the Bible. Chapter 17 verse 20. This offspring of Ismail, and Allah will make them a great nation, and they will be the ones who bear its fruit. Ask them, where's the fruit? Where's the fruit in the offspring of Ismail? Bring him to the masjid and show him, this is the fruit. Bring him at the time of iftar and tell him, this is the fruit. The practice of all the Anbiya is upheld. Allah says to the Israelites that I will put you to shame with an unlettered nation. And Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's ummah is known as Ummiyeen, the unlettered people. They will bear the fruit and they will obey. Show them, see, this is bearing the fruit. You can bring your priest friend and show him here how beautifully at the time of iftar, the time of salah, this is the fruit that Allah spoke of. And their own books mention it. The other son of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam is Hazrat Ishaq. Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam's son was Yaqub alayhi salam. But now, sadly, the Christians and Jews are jealous of the children of Ismail alayhi salam. That's why Surah Baqarah is the first chapter to be revealed in Medina Munawwara. That's why it's chapter 87. But you'll find Surah Baqarah predominantly discusses lots about the Jews. Ya Bani Israel. The first night of Taraweeh you heard it many times. Ya Bani Israel. Ya Bani Israel. Allah is reminding them. Even the building of the Kaaba is mentioned. Even facing Baytul Maqdis is mentioned, because the Jews used to face Baytul Maqdis. And this was to prove to them that Muhammad has come with the same message of all the Anbiya alayhimus salam. So it was giving the Jewish community an opportunity to change and accept the truth. Because they came to Medina Munawwara because of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah says in Surah Baqarah, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ, those whom we gave the book. يَعْرِفُونَهُ, they recognize him. Who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ, like they recognize their own children. Can you make a mistake? All the children are playing and you see your son. Can you make a mistake? It's an impossibility. You know your child. You know everything about your child. His appearance, his walk, his run, his clothes, everything about your child. They knew Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Quran Kareem is clear in Surah Baqarah. Now see how interesting it is to know that this was an early Medina revealed chapter. Because all the early events in Medina, even the Qibla 16 months later, all that is in Surah Baqarah. And the fact that the Jews refused Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam despite them knowing him to be the truth, it was because of racism. They thought, holier than thou, we are the chosen nation. Allah deprived them because of their arrogance. They failed the test. The test was for them to please Allah and accept Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But they failed it. They said, Allah, we will not accept it, because he's not of us. This was their disease, not of us. This is what made them fail. And we, the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love everybody. All are ours. Sab hamara hai. Ya akhi fil mashriqi aw fil maghribi. Ya akhi fil hindi aw fil maghribi. Ana minka anta minni anta bi. La tasal an unsuri aw nasabi. Innahu al-islamu ummi wa abi. Oh my brother, wherever you hail from, the east or the west, or the north or the south, we are brothers. You don't have to worry what family I come from. We all are equal. We come from dust. Our mother and father is Islam. The first country Islam reached after Hijaz and Muqaddas was which country? Which country? Abyssinia. I was so happy to see the brothers earlier from East Africa. Subhanallah, amazing. So firm on deen, alhamdulillah. Abyssinia. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to his Sahaba, go there. There's a just king. La yudlam indahu ahad. No one will face injustice before that king. What an accolade! Our beloved spoke highly of the Abyssinian king, Najashi. What was his name? Ashama bin Abjar. Our Nabi spoke about him. When the Sahaba went there, who was the Amir? There's two views, Hazrat Uthman bin Affan or Hazrat Ja'far radiyallahu anhu. Seems Hazrat Uthman was the Amir. And Hazrat Ruqayya, husband and wife, went in Allah's way to protect their Iman. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam escorted them. And he said they are the first to migrate in Allah's way as a couple after Hazrat Lut alayhi salatu was salam. They went there. The Meccans couldn't bear it. They sent emissaries with bribery, with gifts from Makkah to tell Najashi, send our people back. These are our communities. They have forsaken our creed. They're causing corruption in the land. Send them back to Makkah. Najashi was a wise man. He would not judge a people unless he heard both sides of the story. He summoned the Sahaba. Before the Sahaba came, they made mashura. Who's going to speak? We don't want to do things haphazard before the ruler. Let's choose one spokesperson. They chose Hazrat Ja'far, the cousin of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When they arrived there, all the people bow down to Najashi. Sahaba don't bow down. They greet respectfully. One of the ministers asked, why don't you all bow down? They said, we only bow down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said, don't you bow down to your messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No. He also bows down to Allah. We also bow down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Najashi accepted. He says, no, do not force them. And then they gave dawat. You know what dawat Hazrat Ja'far gave? He gave karguzari. You heard of karguzari? Report back. Ahwal. Bayyan al-ahwal. كيف كنا وكيف الإسلام هدانا. How were we before Islam? What was the despicable habits that we were involved in? The low abyss that we had reached and the degradation that we had reached as a society. Injustice, usurping the rights of others, harming others, not considering anybody's rights whatsoever. What Islam did for us: justice, kindness, compassion, mercy, consideration, respect. What Islam did for us. Afterwards he said, tell me, has your messenger brought any verses of Quran or of the holy book? They said, yes, we have the Quran. Recite to me. What was the chapter Hazrat Ja'far recited? Brother, you tell me, what was the chapter Hazrat Ja'far recited? Before the Abyssinian king. Surah Maryam. And this teaches us, Surah Maryam is an early Meccan revealed chapter. How wise of Hazrat Ja'far to recite Surah Maryam, to show them. I ask you, any of your Christian friends, my friends from Ethiopia, and my friends from all of Africa, Somalia, South Africa, Malawi, Mozambique, did we read? You know, in Malawi, so many of our Muslims have lost their Iman. You know why? Because the Christians came to them and worked on them. When we were supposed to go to the Christian and say, see what the Quran says about Isa alayhi salam. 1 week before Ramadan, someone phoned me to see our house. I was supposed to take him for a viewing of a house. So I said to him, come to my class. So I told a student, wait for this man when he comes. And in that I got to know from someone else that he's a priest and he wants to see our house. So I said, okay, let him come to the class. He'll hear a few ahadith. The environment will inspire him. And I mentioned to the students, so-and-so is coming. So they also understand. When that person came, we explained a few ahadith. Then I offered him coffee and then we spoke. I said, okay, Anbiya alayhimus salam, Yusuf alayhi salam, before interpreting the dream, he first gave da'wah. Anbiya alayhimus salam, before doing anything, they first gave da'wah. Yusuf alayhi salam said, I'll interpret your dream, but hear me out first. And he first explained Allah and the beauty of Islam. So in this, I then opened Surah Ali Imran, chapter 3. This was revealed in Medina Munawwara, Surah Ali Imran. I read the incident of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Imran's story, and his wife when they vowed to Allah. They wanted a child to devote to Allah. Allah blessed them with Maryam. And what happened to Hazrat Maryam? How she became an inspiration to Zakaria alayhi salam, asking Allah for a child because he was shocked. How did she get food out of season? So he said, Allah, you can give me a child out of season, even though I'm old. You know how old was he? 120. When Allah blessed him with Hazrat Yahya. So brothers, it's never too late. MashaAllah. 120. Allah blessed him. My Ustad and Shaykh Hazrat Maulana Qasim Sima Rahmatullah alayhi was 86. And Allah blessed him. Alhamdulillah. With a child. So MashaAllah. Beloved brothers, Hazrat Maryam was his inspiration. He asked Allah. So I'm reading the translation of this chapter. I didn't say to the priest that this is the Quran. It was just a tactic. I'm reading. He's drinking his coffee and he's wondering, which book is this that speaks so highly of Isa alayhi salam? Even the fact of his miraculous birth, even the fact that he spoke as a little child in infancy. Their Bible doesn't have that. He said, what book are you reading from? So I looked at him and smiled and didn't respond. And I carried on reading. So I'm holding the translation like this and he can't see, because of the way I was holding the translation. Afterwards he pulled it from me to see. And it was the Holy Quran, obviously. He was shocked. And that was actually to motivate him to read the Quran, the Quran Kareem, and the translation of the Quran Kareem. So this is in Allah's kalam for us to show this to the world. So I was mentioning to you the Jewish community. They knew Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, from his offspring came Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the greatest of Anbiya alayhi wasallam. And from Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam came Hazrat Yaqub. Now the Jews wanted to steal the honor of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. What's the honor? He was Dhabihullah. Allah, he was commanded to be sacrificed. You heard of Dhabihullah? What a sacrifice. And son submitted to Allah. Satajiduni insha'Allahu min as-sabirin. You heard it yesterday in the Taraweeh in Surah As-Saffat. The Jews say, and this is in the Bible also, the Bible contradicts itself here. What it says is, Allah blessed Hazrat Ibrahim with his first son, Ismail. Then later in the chapter it says, this day you did not withhold your only son Isaac. So clearly somewhere the Bible accepts Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam to be the first son. Then later on it says that you didn't hold back the sacrifice of your son Ishaq, which is a clear indication that Ishaq is mudraj, is incorrectly, deceptively added to the text. So they wanted to steal the honor. Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam is so great. With that honor that Allah gave him, they want to falsely steal someone else's honor, Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam's honor. But interestingly, when Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam received news of his son Ishaq, the glad tidings of Ishaq and Yaqub came simultaneously. Who's Yaqub? وَمِن وَرَاءِ إِسْحَاقَ يَعْقُوبَ. And after Ishaq, or Hazrat Ibrahim, Allah is going to give you a grandson. So the glad tidings came together. So now it doesn't make sense. Allah tells him when Ishaq alayhi salam is 7 years old, you must sacrifice him, because Allah already told him Ishaq is going to bear a noble offspring. And after Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam, his son was Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub alayhi salam's son was Yusuf alayhi salam. And now we know Yusuf alayhi salam and his brothers, isn't it? The story of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam and his brothers, and what they tried to do to him, and how Allah honored him. And then he went from their land in Iraq and he went to Egypt, and then he called his entire family to Egypt. That's why وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ يُوسُف. This mu'min banda is telling them, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam told you the same message Hazrat Musa alayhi salam is telling you from before, but you continue doubting. And when he passed away, you falsely claimed that Allah won't send another Nabi. And he carries on, and he carries on, and he carries on. وَقَالَ الَّذِي آمَنَ. The Mu'min Banda said, "O my people, اتَّبِعُونِ أَهْدِكُمْ سَبِيلَ الرَّشَادِ. Follow me, I'll guide you to the righteous path." This carries on. Read the translation of these verses. You will marvel at Allah telling us in detail what the Mu'min said. What's the next chapter? 41. In verses 30, 31, 32. These verses speak highly about istiqamah. Now this chapter, Hameem Fussilat, was a chapter that Rasulullah ﷺ used to recite to the non-Muslims. Whenever they used to come to him, at times they came to Nabi ﷺ and they said to Nabi ﷺ, "O Muhammad ﷺ, what is wrong with you? Are you insane? We can get you treatment." Na'udhu billah. They insulted him like this. Utbah bin Rabi'ah, the Meccan, sent him. "Speak to Muhammad ﷺ. Do you want money? We'll accumulate and give you all the money in the world. Do you want women? We'll give you women. What do you want? You want position? We'll give you that." You know what Rasulullah ﷺ did? He heard them out. He heard them out. Afterwards he said, "Afaraghta ya Abul Walid." Imagine how amazing. Well, Abul Walid, meaning Utbah, insulted Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He didn't retaliate in a manner of negativity. He didn't also insult and say, "But what about you? You also like that?" No. "Oh, respected sir, can I have my turn to also share my message and speak a few words?" But Rasulullah heard him out first. Hear the man out first. Then take your turn and seize the opportunity properly. Even if it's a missionary coming to your door. Okay, you want to hear him. Because if you interject and quickly speak, he's not going to be hearing you. Let him speak. Bring him some tea. Bring him some ikram. And then you explain it. Or you open the translation of the Quran at the story of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam and you read that story to him. My respected friends from Ethiopia, Allahu Akbar. There's a brother, so that was an Ethiopian brother. He was very inspired. You know? Are you from Ethiopia, brother? MashaAllah. I have a friend. I'm going to ask Brother Haji Zahir to invite him. He's a friend of mine. He embraced Islam 7 years ago. I met him on one occasion. We were in Johannesburg and we became friends. He told me that he was a priest. He had 20,000 followers. And one night, and you know the Christians in Ethiopia are very staunch. I know because they are my friends in Newcastle. Very, very staunch Christians. But when he comes to Newcastle, I go with him and we visit them. And we have coffee together and they make nice coffee. So we came here to Delmas. I want you to make for us some nice coffee. We're going to drink your coffee because, you know, you can make better coffee. You know, so make sure before we leave, we want to have the coffee, inshallah. So we can make the whole night ibadah. Make the strong coffee. Okay, my brother? Allah bless you, inshallah. Gee. And you know, Muslims invented coffee, you know. Tea, but the British in India, you know. But Muslim, okay, anyway, we drink tea. But coffee was invented by the Muslims, alhamdulillah. And that also, it was a Muslim from Yemen or a Muslim from Abyssinia who had his flock. And he noticed when his flock ate from that certain seed, which was the coffee bean, it became very active. Anyway, let's complete our discussion, beloved brothers, because we're almost completing the juz. I was telling you about this priest. He says one night he sees a dream. And you know what he sees? He sees a handsome man with an imama. He was preparing for his lecture on the next day, on a Sunday. This was Saturday night, he's preparing. And he's preparing and he's dozing off. And he sees this handsome man call him and hug him and scrub his head. I want to bring this brother here, you will meet him. What an amazing brother. And as he's scrubbing his head, he says all this filth came out. He says, I understood that to be my misconceptions. Because the verses prophesying Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the Bible are so clear. But those misconceptions. He says they were so high, as tall as I am. He says afterwards, he clothed me and tied a turban for me like him. And he said, now you go clothe the world. He said, I knew this was Islam. He says, I woke up the next day and I changed my life. He left, turned his back on Christianity. Alhamdulillah, Allah's fadl. Everywhere he goes, he invites people to Islam. Alhamdulillah. So here in these verses 30, 31, 32, what does the verse speak of? Istiqamah. Inna alladhina qalu rabbuna Allah. Those who proclaim, sincerely that our Rabb is Allah. ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. One is they utter it. Then they remain on this belief with istiqamah. Now the verse is so amazing, how Allah blesses them, how malaika come down, how Allah raises them, what blessings they have. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ. This whole verse is 31, 30, 31, 32. The pleasures of akhirah, the bliss in akhirah. نُزُلًا مِّن غَفُورٍ رَحِيمٍ. They are the guests of who? Mehman Nawazi. غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٍ. Rahim ki taraf se hai. Hospitality from Ghafurur Rahim. Allah who is Ghafur, who conceals their faults. Whatever mistakes they made, as long as they tried, Allah covers their faults. And He rewards them for their attempts and good that they did. Rahim, He is most merciful. But now the question comes about, oh Allah, how can we die with this istiqamah? That's mentioned in verses 30, 31 and 32 of chapter 41. How can we acquire this istiqamah? The Quran answers. Hazrat Mufti al-Haq Sahib Damat Barakatuhum explains this so beautifully. The Quran-e-Kareem answers this question, that how will we acquire this istiqamah? Allah answers, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Here Allah mentions 10 qualities of the da'i. Allah says, who can be better in speech? Who can be better? Subhanallah, one is a khabar, information, that this is very good. It has strength in the statement. But now when you show a challenge, what can be better than this? The second statement is much more emphatic. The Quran says, what can be better than da'wat? Who can be better than the da'i? Quran is challenging, bring something better. Then he who da'a ilallah, what he does? Whether he's from Ethiopia, whether he's from Malawi, whether he's from India, whether he's from China, whether every Muslim is what? Is da'i ilallah. Allah says, who can be better than he who da'a ilallah, invites to Allah. And our brothers from Somalia, mashallah, the best da'i, mashallah, firm on deen, alhamdulillah, Allah accept. Da'a ilallah, he invites to Allah. Wa amila salihan. And not only invite, but deeds. He's the first to do deeds. He's the first in the masjid. He's the first in the first saf. He's the first to practice every sunnah. Wa amila salihan. He does good deeds. And what's the third quality? Now remember, this is the response to the question in the previous chapter. Ya Allah, how will we acquire such istiqamah? So we die on iman. We want to die on iman. Allah says, invite to Allah and do good deeds. Allah will help us remain on this till we die. If you're talking about something, you'll acquire the ability to be the first in it. What's the second quality? He does good deeds. What's the third quality? قَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. He utters, he says, I am from the Muslims. Minal Muslimin. What does that mean? He loves everyone. Not, I am better. My nation is best. My people. No, I am nothing. I am from the Muslims. Everyone is better than me. We are one community. We are one ummah. In this is the quality of unity. When we think we better, that is shaitan's way. He says, I am better. When we think I am nothing, others are better. That's the mu'min's way. Acceptance, submission, confession, humility, humbleness. Our father Hazrat Adam alayhi salam's way. Shaitan's way, I am better. Ana khayrun min. My people, my nation, my language. All this is hypocrisy. This is pride. This is satanic. That means nothing. My people, my language, my nation, my people. This is a despicable trait. As a Muslim, this is destructive. You know what Rasulullah said in the hadith which is in Tirmidhi? Allah's Nabi said, La tad'u bida'wal jahiliyyah. Don't call the slogans of jahiliyyah. فَإِنَّهُ مِن جُثَى جَهَنَّمْ. The slogans of jahiliyyah are the fuel of hell. What's the slogans of jahiliyyah? My people, my color, my nation, my deen, my Allah, my Nabi Sunnah, my Quran, and I love everyone. That's our way. That is our way, beloved brothers, respected elders. Innani min al-Muslimin. Rasulullah ﷺ said, don't call these slogans of Jahiliyyah. This is the fuel of hell. Sahaba asked, وَإِن صَامَ وَصَلَّى وَزَعَمَ أَنَّهُ مُسْلِمٌ Rawahu Tirmidhi. He fasts. Abu al-Harith al-Ash'ari is the narrator of the hadith. He fasts. He prays. He claims to be Muslim. Allah's Nabi said he'll still be thrown in hell. فَدْعُوا بِدَعْوَ اللَّهِ. So call the slogan of Allah. الَّذِي سَمَّاكُمْ بِهِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ يعني يا عباد الله. Call the slogans of Allah that I am Muslim. I submit to Allah. I've come with the message of peace. I believe firmly in Allah and I love everyone. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. I am from the Muslims. In this is unity. In this is humility. In this is obedience. Submission. Muslim is submission. In this is sincerity to do for Allah. In this is obedience. Islam is to give in to Allah. Obedience to Allah. And in this is responsibility. His wife is saying, why you have to go to the people? Why you have to serve them? Why you join for Gash? Why you going for the Ijtima? What's the date of the Ijtima, brothers? MashaAllah. 27th of April. 27th, 28th, 29th, isn't it? Everyone must attend the Ijtima, isn't it? All of us will attend the Ijtima. The wife is saying, why are you going to do for the deen? Why are you going for Gash? Why are you bringing the ummah? Sit here, stay at home, whole day. So the doctor, 12 o'clock at night, he goes and he's going to see to somebody. There's an emergency. Wife is saying, why you go? What he says? It's my responsibility, it's my duty. So here, his wife is saying, why you have to go? Innani min al-Muslimin. I am a Muslim. It's my duty. It's my responsibility to save everybody. What's the next quality? We're finishing off. What's the next quality of the da'i? This is the longest one in the verse. I'm going to crux it for you. وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةِ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةِ إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم. Allah says, Ya Allah, when someone harms you or oppresses you, how do you retaliate? Your reaction is with kindness, with character. He is disrespectful, you be respectful. He is harmful, you be beneficial. He insults, you be polite. You're trying to invite him, he says, get away, I'm not interested, go from here. He chases you away. You show akhlaq, you show more kindness. أَفَرَغْتَ يَا أَبَا الْوَلِيدِ. Hazrat Mus'ab bin Umair in Medina, Ya Sayyida Qawmihi. Respect. They warn the people with character. Allah says, then Allahu Akbar, the one who has hostility towards deen, Allah changes his heart in such a manner, he becomes your most bosom friend. Now this quality of da'wat with akhlaq, Allah says, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا. No one receives this quality except the patient ones. Yulaqqa is an interesting word of receiver. Hazrat says so beautifully, يَتَلَقْ, it could have been يَلْقَاهَا. Yulaqqaha, the tasdeed indicates that this quality comes with sacrifice. No one receives this quality except with sacrifice. The patient ones. And the one who receives character with da'wat, illa dhu hazzin adheem. He's the most fortunate one because he's emulating the way of all the anbiya alayhimu min Allahi as-salawatu wa taslimat. Then Allah says shaitan doesn't like it. So the next verse discusses that. When you're going to do da'wat, shaitan is going to inject and attack. يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغ. Seek Allah's protection and still go and still invite and still do Allah's work. And when we're facing difficulty from shaitan, he's injecting nazghun. فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. Allah, you help me. Allah knows what we're going through. إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Allah hears when you're complaining to Him, when you're pleading to Him. Alim, He knows what's going through your heart and what you're going through in the challenges of inviting to Allah and striving for Allah. Beg Him, turn to Him. Allah accept, respected elders, beloved brothers. We all need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala The first Sahabi to pass away in Badr was from Africa. What was his name? Hazrat Mahja' radiallahu anhu. First Sahabi, first Shaheed of Badr, Mahja'. The second was Haritha bin Suraqa. But Mahja' was the first Shaheed of the 14 Sahaba Shuhada of Badr. The first was a Sahabi from Africa. You heard this morning in the Fajr prayer, in the second rak'ah, Surah Dahr. When that surah was revealed, a Sahabi from Africa was asking about Jannah, asking about Jannah. Brothers, Africa got talent in our deen. Allahu Akbar. O Nabi of Allah, tell me about Jannah, tell me about Jannah, tell me about Jannah. Surah Dahr was revealed. The Sahabi is listening, he's listening about Jannah. Ya Allah. He passed away. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam looked and checked and verified he had passed away. Allah's Nabi said, أَخَذَ نَفْسَ صَاحِبِكُمْ الشَّوْقُ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. The love for Jannah, the desire for Jannah that Allah described in this chapter has taken his life. So beloved brothers, let us strive for Allah inshallah. Allah give us tawfiq inshallah. All of us will try. All of us will strive inshallah. So for this, beloved brothers, Allah give us tawfiq.